Ako ay kabilang sa pamilya ng Diyos. Kasalanan ko'y nilinis ng kanyang dugo.
Palawan, in the southwest Philippines, is a lush tropical island. Its beautiful empty beaches, unspoiled natural scenery, and friendly inhabitants make it very attractive. Another nearly 2,000 adjacent islands combine to make up this Palawan province. The richest fishing grounds in the Philippines are off Palawan's northern coast. People who like fish think that this is paradise. Palawan features a true jungle atmosphere, both with respect to the lush tropical foliage and interesting fauna. Monkeys leap and chatter even as monitor lizards creep sedately through the tropical forest. Palawan Island is thinly populated. The Batak and the Palawan were among the aboriginal inhabitants of the island. The Batak are an extremely shy people. If a person wishes to find them and visit their villages, it necessitates adequate time and a competent guide. Actually, it was the Batak that first aroused Gospel Outreach's interest here. Presently, there are 16 Gospel Outreach evangelists working in busy coastal fishing villages and also in remote mountain locations where people hunger for the gospel. Among the Gospel Outreach evangelists on Palawan are Andy and Bernadette Bagbanwa, who are headquartered in the village of Langagan. But their ministry reaches to several satellite villages, some of which can be reached only by fording rushing mountain streams that are often challenging, especially during the rainy season. As one views Gospel Outreach's activities, especially in Asia, it becomes evident that several women evangelists have a definite role. This is certainly true in the Philippines and carries over to Bangladesh and Nepal. The women's intrepid spirit has enabled them to present the gospel in certain somewhat dangerous areas where their male counterparts have been less inclined to venture. Bernadette works shoulder to shoulder with her husband in a fruitful ministry that finds them sometimes rafting across mountain streams. Her selfless ministry results in many precious souls being led to Christ and into the fellowship of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Gospel Outreach proclaim the gospel to the world.
To help take the gospel to the islands of the Palawan province, Gospel Outreach has provided 2 mission boats. One is presently based in the coastal town of Rojas, and the other is being used on the offshore Cuyo island group. Each of these boats can carry up to 30 passengers, and their sturdy Nissan engines enable them to quickly ply the waters. The boats make possible an accelerated program of evangelism. Gospel Outreach has been strongly involved in evangelistic ministry in the provincial prison on Palawan that contains nearly 2,000 inmates from all parts of the Philippines. Interestingly, the warden of the prison is a Seventh-day Adventist.
The circumstance that stands between us and the day when Jesus will occur is the giving of the gospel to all the world.
Presently, there are 135 inmates in the prison who have been introduced to Jesus and baptized into the fellowship of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. These prisoners now have hope for this life and a certain hope for eternity. The island of Palawan is home to several indigenous groups of people who each speak their own particular dialect and who each have unique social customs, some of which are so barbaric as to be impossible to describe on this program. There's a definite need for a strong and continuing gospel outreach evangelism program on Palawan. At a recent gathering of gospel outreach, evangelists on Palawan told of the blessings of God upon their endeavors. Proclaiming the gospel on Palawan is not an easy matter. Getting back into some of the isolated areas can present a real challenge. But the hazards and the challenges notwithstanding, the evangelists departed from the meeting with an announced desire to exceed what had been accomplished in the past. Annually, the gospel outreach evangelists on Palawan are responsible for hundreds of baptisms. These come as the fruitage of multiplied Bible studies, cottage meetings, and evangelistic crusades, which are often conducted under less than desirable conditions. The sacred rite of baptism is the door into the church, and the people come to the waters of baptism with a profound sense of solemnity and joy. Baptism is not the end of gospel outreach's interest in the people. In fact, the gospel outreach evangelists are frequently reminded that baptism only underscores the need for continuing nurture of the candidates. That's why gospel outreach urges the evangelists to reside among the people for whom they labor. Their daily contact with the people models the gospel they espouse. The venue changed, but the reason and the seriousness of the moment remained the same. A westering sun witnessed a group from Johnson Island, offshore from Palawan, as they participated in the sacred rite of baptism. These dear people are genuinely sincere in their commitment to Christ. Evidence abounds that God has indeed set his hand to recover his people from the islands of the sea. While Palawan may be relatively remote, even there, God has men and women who are boldly venturing forth to introduce people to Jesus. So it's true. If we each do a little, we can all do a lot. And soon we'll see our Savior coming to gather his loved ones home.